Good evening everyone, or whatever time it is that you're watching this. Today I'm going to do the second in my series that's going to be looking at my sort of new chapter delving into hopefully making art and photography into a business. You will notice I'm in a different setting today. I'm in the lounge today because my brother's getting married in May of this year, and today my parents are meeting his fiance's parents for the first time. So they're in London having a lovely meal today. So I have a few hours to myself. So I'm free, I'm out of the cave that is my bedroom to film this video in the lounge. And I wanted to focus on a question that Lizzie Parker asked me in the comments a week ago it says. So she said she's studying graphic and web design at uni and recently getting into illustration more. One problem I'm having is that I have a few styles I like to experiment with. Do you feel as an artist or an aspiring artist it's okay to have more than one style? And when she asked me that, I thought I knew the answer to it, but the more as I went to type, I started to question myself and realised I didn't know the answer. So I just wanted to talk about that today because it's something that I'm sort of thinking about with my work too. Obviously the first few illustrations I put out on my Instagram and have done in the last few years have been sort of that more intricate dot work with a fine liner. But in the recent weeks, just because I don't have much spare time to do this work, and because I was just looking at what is quite popular when it comes to motifs on fashion clothing, you know what I mean, what's popular on Tumblr or in fashion, and just art that I see on Instagram a lot. A lot of people kind of like that more simplistic, more bold, simple design. So I thought I'd try that because obviously it would benefit me if I can get more illustrations done. It's more things to put in my shop, and it gets those ideas out there a bit quicker. So I thought it'd be good to try, and the response has been positive to the more simple designs, so I'll probably persevere with that. But anyway, that's beside the point. When I first thought about it, I was thinking about how people like to be able to pigeonhole people and put them in certain boxes and label them. And so I initially thought it's probably better to have one distinctive style. So when people see the work, they go, oh, that's a Sophie Eggleton, or whatever you name it, or that's a Lizzie Parker. And that people can kind of get a gauge of your abilities, what you're suitable for. So, they're more likely to go, oh, I need someone that can do that sort of work. I know, I'll call that person. So part of me thought that maybe it is good to have a distinctive style, but then I think as an artist or a creative, there shouldn't be any restrictions whatsoever. It should be whatever your instinct tells you to do, or whatever your creative instinct is that day to do. And I don't like the idea that, there might be that voice in your head saying, oh, but that's not your normal style, you shouldn't do it, or that's not what people know you for, you shouldn't do that. That doesn't seem right, because the whole point of being a creative is experimentation, trial and error to a degree, and being inspired by other things you see. So if you see something that you like, you might go home and go, oh, I want to do something like that today, whether it be throwing paint on there or doing something really painstaking. And I would hate to tell anyone not to do that for the sake of just having a distinctive style that people know you for. When I think about artists as well, yeah, there are some that you can look at straight away and go, oh, that's a Lichtenstein, or that's a Francis Bacon, or whatever. That might just be because we know them for a selection of works that is perhaps their most famous works, or from an era that did particularly well for them, or that they became known for. They probably had sketchbooks and other works of other mediums and other themes that they tried as well. I think there's a lot of artists too that have experimented and had different chapters and eras within their career. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a distinct style in terms of how you see the end result. It might just be that there is something that links all their works together. Like when I think of Tracey Emin, she's obviously done installations like The Bed, which was in the Tate Modern for a while. It might still be, I don't know. And then she'll have work that is, you know, letters and entries in her diary. I think she, in one exhibition I went to, she even had an old tampon with her blood on it. And, you know, they're all different things. Obviously she's had the light work, the neon light work as well, drawings, lithographs, all sorts of things. I still know that's Tracey Emin, or I can see why it is a Tracey Emin, because her work is kind of linked by her willingness to be really open with us, talk about very personal things to her, things that she's actually gone through. She doesn't censor herself. So I don't necessarily think, for instance, you need to say, okay, I have to always do drawings and they have to look a certain way. You might find that your personal style is the fact that maybe all of yours have a theme of melancholy, or perhaps they all have a theme of nature. Perhaps they're just things that make you happy, or things that are on your mind, and that might be the link that gives you a style. Sorry, Anastasia, to use you as a reference again, but for instance, I feel like when I see Anastasia's work come up on my feed, I don't even need to see her name. I know it's her work. But if you looked at the work carefully, you would see there are changes. For instance, lately she's been incorporating a bit more colour. Might change the paper that she uses. She did that collaboration with Adam where her words were put over photographs. Yet I could still see her imprint in that piece of artwork. I tried to ponder what was the thing that linked all my work together, because when I was at uni, actually drawing was the thing that I did the least. I did multi-screen video installations, I did sculptures, I did mixed media, found objects, I did all sorts of things, and very rarely actually drawings, apart from kind of as backup portfolio work or supporting work. It was never the main work. But thinking about all the things that I have created is quite often linked to personal things that have happened to me, or things that are going on in my head, even if it's not as apparent in the work itself. For instance, even the nature ones, you might just think that's about nature. But to me, that's about the fact that I go for walks to escape and to clear my head, and I find a huge amount of relief by immersing myself in nature. And sometimes the flowers I use might have symbolism to them, like today I'm going to be drawing some plants that all have the symbolism of hope within them, and you might see the picture and not actually get that from looking at it. They might just come across as, oh, there's some pretty flowers, but actually there's meaning behind them. So I think for me, there's always some sort of marking, whether it's apparent to you or not, that represents something that's going on in my head or something I've gone through. I think there is quite often a tinge of, I don't want to say sadness, but I'd say just reality in them. So I guess I personally think that I wouldn't want any artist to feel restricted, and they should go with, you know, what's naturally flowing. And, you know, a lot of fun can be had from, you know, going out of your comfort zone and experimenting with new materials, new mediums, and accepting that some things will work, some things won't, and that a style will probably emerge at some point, and you might not recognise that it's happened. But versatility is great. So if you don't feel like you have a distinct style yet, or perhaps you never will, look at the positives about that, that you might be a bit more flexible, that you might be a bit more spontaneous and versatile, and that's all right too. So those are just my thoughts for today. I know this video probably won't be very interesting to people that aren't really into arty stuff, but yeah, I just thought it was an interesting topic, so I thought I'd make a little video while I sip on some squash. So yeah, have a good day. And I'll do a video soon which will probably be a bit more appealing to more of you. And yeah, thanks for watching, and come and buy some stuff, please. Thanks. Bye.